Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Chet Buchanan from 98.5 KLUC in Las Vegas. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but I just want to prove that I, too, am not an idiot. Because just like you, I'm listening to the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. Believe that.
Welcome back to Friday Sports Riot.
I'm Ryan Hoppe.
I'm Ryan SuperRICH here on SportsTownChicago.com. And we wanted to take some time to talk about just the Spurs' dominance.
Yeah.
And what they did to win Game 5 in San Antonio.
I never thought it was possible. I had the Heat winning in 7. I thought the Heat would pull it out. I thought that Chris Bosh would take off his panties. I thought that Dwayne Wade would get out of his wheelchair and begin playing basketball. I thought Shane Battier would show up to the occasion. I thought Ray Allen would actually play more consistently. I thought this whole team was going to do well. I thought Greg Oden would have been more of an X factor. I thought Michael Beasley would show up, Orion. None of that happened. So what was your take?
Well, my take on it was just sort of, I was just surprised at how dominant they were.
I know.
And all the games were like 20-point blowouts, by the end of it. And the Heat just couldn't get back into it. I mean, Wade was non-existent during the series.
Wade was atrocious. Wade was terrible. Wade was abomination of basketball. Like, the fact that he's a Hall of Famer, he just did so bad. I'm like, you're a Hall of Famer. Show up. I know your knees are bad. I know they're shot. But do something. You can't even make free throws, you loser.
No, I get it. And, I mean, Bosh, Wade, Mario Chalmers was awful.
Atrocious. That whole team was bad. It was weird.
Yeah, it was just LeBron James trying to get them back into it. And
maybe they missed Mike Miller. Maybe that's the key factor you miss.
I mean, it was literally like, it was sort of like LeBron was back on the Cavaliers.
It was bizarre. The numbers were identical. Everything was.
Yeah, and I mean, the Spurs just took it to him, and I'm so glad they did, because they really deserved that championship last year, too. And
they could have had 6. Tim Duncan would be on
tied
ESPN right now. Who's better, Tim Duncan or Michael Jordan? Ugh.
Yeah, we'd have that.
Sports
and
journalism.
And until Kobe gets another ring,
he won't.
He can't get discussed in that either.
He won't.
Because he has 5 and Jordan has 6.
God, what if he pulled
and Bill Russell is like 11.
Robert Horry has like 8.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Some of the people who win, it's just ridiculous. It's just like Robert Horry of all people. Like,
I mean, he was a good role player with clutch shots.
Yeah, he was a great clutch shooter and a good guy to come off the bench. But I mean, in no way should he have 8 rings.
I mean, even Brian Scalabrine has more than a lot of people.
Right. It's crazy.
But what else did you take away from the series? I just saw it. I never am a guy who hates on Eric Spoelstra. He's a guy who has 2 rings. Yeah, he might be more of a game manager, but he has more rings than Mike Brown or Mike D'Antoni. I mean, he's higher than them. That's not saying much.
Yeah, he's not a bad coach.
I think he's
really
fine. I think he's a fine coach. He's not great, but his girlfriend, she's pretty fine. But back to the point, I mean, I just saw it. Greg Popovich blew him out of the water. It shows why he's an all-time great coach. He demolished Eric Spoelstra. I think it was more the team than Eric Spoelstra. Because Eric Spoelstra was trying to tell the team, guard somebody, do something.
Right.
And at some point, you can only do so much. And to all the people out there that want to see Eric Spoelstra get fired, who's going to replace him? Who?
I don't know.
Exactly. Pat Riley will go into his wheelchair on his side and his cane. What's he going to do with his fake tan? Come on.
Yeah, nothing. It's so weird to think that like the Spurs have 5 championships too,
and no one is giving them any credit whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The whole national media, the 4-letter network, the thing they're discussing is, what did LeBron do wrong? Where will LeBron go on their sideline?
LeBron didn't do anything wrong. The team around him fell apart.
Yes, stop acting like LeBron did something wrong. He had 34 points. He was out of breath. He was tired of carrying this dumb team into the South Beach on his back.
And, I mean, I remember, I think it was last Tuesday or something, in the classroom here at ICB, and some people were talking about it, and everyone was saying that Miami's going to win. There's no way. And I said, no, San Antonio's going to win tonight. lose in San Antonio, and then win in Miami. I was wrong about them losing in San Antonio, but I was right. I was the only one in that class. There was like a 5-person.
Well, you're the only good sports analyst in class, so
out of like the 5 or 6 people discussing that thought that San Antonio was going to win.
Yeah, everyone just kind of counted them out. Great part about this Spurs win is I hate that billboard that the Spurs fans made, build versus bought, but it really does show that, like, sports is alive, because, like, if the Heat would have three-peated, it would have just felt dirty. Like, you bought the team.
Yeah, well, and everyone would be upset.
It just feels right to have Texas beat the Heat.
Yeah. And I've really, now since the Spurs have been so good for like the last few years, it's at least going back-to-back finals appearances, I'm really starting to like their team a lot more than I did when I was younger.
I like it that they beat the Heat, but I mean, I kind of wanted to see OKC versus the Heat. Now, listen, the Heat would have won easily, but like,
yeah, that's the
Spurs
problem.
are kind of boring. That's the problem. That's why I'm glad the Spurs made it, but at the same time, I like watching Portland.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Portland or OKC in there.
But then they
I
would not have beat
typically
the Heat.
like those teams more than San Antonio, but something about San Antonio, man, I'm starting to like them a lot more.
I know what you mean. I just think I'm okay with San Antonio because they beat the Heat, and I like them more. Like the same thing with the Mavs, but I never liked the Mavs. I mean, probably because I'm a Laker fan.
Yeah.
And part two is just like they play boring basketball. I know it looks fun when it's against the Heat.
They do play boring basketball.
It is fun basketball when it's against the Heat.
Well, it's just like the Chicago Bulls. It's very boring basketball, too, especially without Derrick Rose out there.
Yeah.
It gets really boring, but, I mean, it's fun when they
What
win,
could Greg Popovich do with the Bulls?
He could do probably just as good as Tom Thibodeau, if not
Probably
better.
more scoring, I think.
Maybe a little more scoring, a little less
Hey, let's
killing players.
That's what I was about to
I
say.
don't know, yeah.
I mean, yeah, a little less. Hey, we're down 30. Let's keep them in, Tom Thibodeau.
Although the Bulls do have a good deep bench, at least they did at one point.
What about that team?
San Antonio's got a way deeper bench.
What would Greg Popovich have done with that team in 2011?
In 2011?
They lost in 5 to the Heat.
I know they wouldn't have given the ball to Rose to shoot that three that was never going in at the end.
And then there was that jump shot. Ronnie Brewer was open. I know Ronnie Brewer's not the most prolific jump shooter, but like he was open. Derrick Rose shot it. LeBron blocked it. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Call the show. What was your take on the NBA Finals? 630-403-5200. That is 630-403-5200. Any other points, Super Rich?
No, that's about it.
All right, we will be right back on the Friday Sports Riot here on SportsTownChicago.com. After this, we will have Risky Rants. BRB.
The Hoppe and SuperRICH Show.